Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And Dr. Lopkin, the big news, there's two biggies that we need to talk about, but the first one is the resurgence of Biden and I think, dismantling by the Democratic committee of Bernie. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Super Tuesday delivered a smackdown to the radical left part of the Democratic Party. The DNC, the Democrats as a whole, basically said enough is enough. And they put their weight behind Biden. And now Biden is the front runner.
I think he's a shoo-in unless something completely crazy happens.
I mean, at this point, the only two candidates left are Bernie and Biden. And
okay, can I interject something real quick? It's really not a big deal, but it's still interesting. What's going on with Elizabeth Warren? She lost her home state. I mean, she's trying to go for a brokered convention? Whatever.
She didn't just lose her home state. She came in third in her home state. I didn't know that. Yeah. She needs to get out of the race now. She has no chance of winning. There is zero chance of her being on a ticket. If you can't
I would
carry,
agree. She brings, yeah.
If you can't carry, even Walter Mondale won his home state.
I think she's actually, and it's not a big issue because she only got reelected last year. I think she's in trouble with Massachusetts because she used them. Because I remember watching her. She goes, "Oh, I'm not going to run for president. No. I love you, Massachusetts." And she left them like a bad date.
Well, we'll see what happens when she's up, when her Senate seat is up. But at this point, she brings nothing to the table. Even at a brokered convention, nobody is going to pick her for vice president.
Zero chance. And I actually think that a little interesting hubris because I think it was delusional, the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, she never stood a real chance. And, she had that one, surge of popularity, which ended as soon as she actually put numbers to these ridiculous plans of hers.
Yeah, that's what blew it up. Yeah,
and I think that's part of what helped take out Bernie yesterday.
I would agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that. It's like going on a mystery date and then you actually have dinner and it's like, oh God. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think it's interesting. I think now the big takeaway is what happens to the Bernie bros. I mean, they essentially got screwed twice. Let's just get right down to it.
Well, Bernie has been saying, and he started even before yesterday's primaries, going off about how the establishment is trying to stop him and he's not going to stand for it. He is going to rip the Democratic Party in two so that when it comes down to the general election, the Bernie bros will stay home. And
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I think unlike last time, 2016, when he kind of took it on the chin, whatever you want to call it, it ain't going to happen this time. I think he might actually, could he even run in the third party?
It's possible that he could run in a third party. I don't think he'd, stand a chance. And at this point, I'm not even sure he could get on the ballot.
Probably not.
In some states. He would have, would be too late for that. Although there is always, the working parties, working families party and all of these little third parties that he could run on their tickets.
I do believe his star has set. There's no chance. I'm really surprised because the Democrats really organized this pretty well. They took him out. They
did. And I mean, realistically, for the Democrats to survive, they didn't have a choice because with Bernie at the head of the ticket, they would have lost the White House. They would not have been able to take the Senate, and they would have lost the House of Representatives. And they knew this.
Yeah, it would have been a Mondale-esque kind of smackdown, no question about it. Okay, moving on to, it does relate to the election because I thought and not just me, who cares what I say, the betting odds were 2 weeks ago that Trump had a 70% chance of re-election. And we talked before, but I think with the coronavirus, I put it down to 55 now.
Yeah, I would say he's got somewhere between a 55% and 60% chance of re-election. And some of that is coronavirus, and some of that is actually that Biden stands a much better chance against him than Bernie ever did.
Okay, that's a very good point. Now let's talk about this coronavirus. There's all ends of the spectrum, and I've been on all of them because let me just preface this by saying this time last week, sitting at home, oblivious to the entire situation, meaning I was just watching whatever, and I watched the news, and I'm like, holy cow, they were talking about like, it's not worth the time to get into it, but the percentage of people infected, what it's going to do to the blah, 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 and this virus lives forever, and it's got a shelf life on a table of 9 days, and I'm like, whoa, dude, this thing is bad. Talking about closing schools, everything. Your retort.
Yeah. I mean, all of what you've said is true, but it has been greatly exaggerated. I've been watching reports from epidemiologists and doctors, and basically, first of all, yes, it has a long lifespan on a solid surface, but it can also be killed by bleach. If you just clean the surface with bleach, virus is gone. If you wash your hands and, a good washing, not just stick them under water, using soap, washing them for, I think it's like 20 seconds, they say, virus is gone. It's not that strong a virus against cleaning. The big problem with it is that it spreads without you having symptoms.
That's key. And also, could it be also, but isn't there another key that it could be spread without human-to-human contact, body fluid, sneezing? It's airborne. I forgot the term. I'm not an epidemiologist.
No, it's not airborne.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. That's really good.
No. Yeah, the virus is not airborne. It spreads it spreads either person to person or on a hard surface. It doesn't even spread on a soft surface, if what I've been hearing is correct. It has to be on a hard surface or person to person. That's why you can go online. There are dozens of sites have already posted lists of products that have been shown to kill the virus. So there's all of this panic. But the fact of the matter is it's easily avoidable if you follow the steps of washing your hands and disinfecting your workstation or your phone.
Okay, just got to pop up that first death in California from coronavirus.
Yeah, these are folks that have had it for a while. If you take a look at the deaths, which obviously anybody dying from a virus is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take a look at the deaths, all of the people who were infected that got that either passed away or got serious consequences were the elderly and people with previous respiratory problems. Smokers are at risk.
Mm-hmm.
If you I actually heard folks with diabetes may be at a higher risk, but if you have an ongoing health situation, those are the folks that are in the most danger. The average person is in very little danger.
Okay, but also, isn't there a factor that the press? They had Russia, they had Ukraine. Now they got
they've got coronavirus.
They're running hard on this. They're running hard.
They are, and in fact, it was actually very funny because I saw somebody on CNBC. They were interviewing about the coronavirus, and he said, "Well, all of this is just panic." And one of the best ways to stop the panic is stop watching CNBC. And he said,
"Oh
this
yeah,
on...
you watch this stuff. You know, like I said, I was fat, dumb, and happy eating the pizza at home. Next thing you know, I filled out my new will. I mean, it's like, whoa, dude." So
yeah, and the other thing that's very important is all of the epidemiologists are saying this is a flu-like virus, which means once the flu season ends, the bulk of the danger is going to end from this as well.
Okay, if that is true, then Trump's chances go up 5%. If it's not true, then we got a real problem. I think if the flu season, because it's almost over right now, if it is actually a flu-like virus and it's all what we just said, then that's that. But if it's not, then we got problems. So we'll see how it all unfolds.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's all about the next 2 weeks.
I think it's about more than the next 2 weeks. I think you're really going to see what happens over the summer, because by the summer, flu viruses are gone. If this manages to keep going into the summer, Trump is in real trouble.
Then we agree with that.
Yeah, if by June all of this is, run its course and the economy's picking back up and everything's getting back to normal, then I think Trump probably goes up to 60 to 65% shot at winning.
Last question about the economy. I always feel that most of the economy is in people's between their ears, and also once it's very momentum driven. So what is your response to the fact that this thing starts gaining steam? Does the train already leave the station? If you know what I'm saying. Like, in other words, you have 2 months of people, right now, if I was head of a corporation, I would have to say, I'm putting hiring on hold for a little bit. You have to. You just have to. You have to. I'm not going to expand.
Well,
into
no, actually,
right now.
I mean, hiring hasn't really been shown to be on hold. What's being put on hold is business travel. People are people are not traveling. They're not going places. Conferences are being canceled. That's actually the biggest threat to the economy right now, because deals aren't being done, because you're not getting people into the room. Hiring, no. I don't think hiring will actually be secondary. They're not going to slow down on hiring until it becomes dangerous, because these deals aren't being done. If the business isn't being done, the deals aren't being done, there's no need to hire. But that's a secondary step.
Well, we'll see how it all unfolds. It does put a kink in the armor if you're a Trump supporter, because I think, and also Biden getting in there. So we'll see how it all unfolds.
Absolutely.
All right, that concludes another edition of Carnivore Bites. We'll be back to do it again next week, Dr. Lopkin.
See you then.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.